market, the NBS is saying that it has employed digital methodologies in line with global best practices. So Nigerians can expect more in terms of the CPI and what the goods in the market are saying. But Chijioke, you and I know, you go to the market, we compare what it was last month or last 2 months, or particularly in December, because December seems to be the month in which prices fluctuate the most. And we say this bag of tomatoes or this bag of rice was this amount XYZ month, and this month it is this amount. So calculating it, we can't say that it has dropped by more than 10% if the price is not more than 10% in difference.
Well, certainly, it's very rare to find any price of a certain commodity in the country dropping less than 10%. Even if they are goods that were bought about 6 months ago, and then the price increases within just a very short period of time, perhaps a couple of weeks or even a month. I believe the salesperson in the market will tell you, oh, these are new goods.
I just imported
them. There's no way I can sell them what was obtainable about 6 months ago. So it also falls on our own table to ensure that we engage in fair practices in business. I think that would go a long way in helping the NBS to give accurate data. And I think brilliant calls made by Mr. Sheon as well for, independent bodies within states to ensure accurate data comes out of every single state and not just a holistic data analysis from the NBS that might not really capture exactly what is going on in individual states, like he mentioned Lagos and other parts of the country.
Very well said then. Well, it's 9 o'clock and it's time for our main conversation. We earlier set the background so that our viewers can follow the updates and reactions. This next conversation would also be greeted by visual representation. We've tried our best to censor as much in areas where there were scuffle or bloodshed, like in Osun State, but we'll be giving you a picture of what happened at the Lagos State Assembly before we come back to look at this discussion now from the angle of what the leaders could have done differently. Mr. Sheon had dwelled on what he believes security should have done differently. But in terms of leadership, which continues to be the bane of our focus, we'll be x-raying what leaders could have done, decisions taken differently that could have averted some of the challenges faced yesterday. Let's begin with Lagos State, and we'll bring you footage now of some of the drama that unfolded on the floor of the chambers.
Nigeria in general and Lagos State in particular.
Now, it's important to highlight that these visuals were a compilation of eyewitness reports from journalists within the chambers in the State House of Assembly. Now, important things to note are that following the forceful entry of the DSS into the state's chamber, the offices of the Speaker, Deputy, and the Clerk were picketed. Now, the Assembly has now adjourned its plenary indefinitely. Big questions are asked in terms of leadership positions on what could have been done differently. We're hoping to have Comrade Ayoyinka Oni, the African Action Congress Lagos chairman, join us virtually from Lagos to answer some of these questions. Comrade Oni, good morning to you, sir. Comrade Ayoyinka Oni, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Good morning to you. Thank you for having me.
Carlos, it's good to have you on the program. Lagos, I don't know if you're in Alausa or around the environs. I hope you're not, but I believe everywhere is calm around that area and vicinity now. However, let's get your thoughts on...
I'm actually close to Alausa presently.
I couldn't have predicted, but give us a picture of the atmosphere. I hope it's calmer now this morning.
Well, not specifically at the House of Assembly. Probably I might touch there before the end of today. But it seems to be calm. I think the storm was yesterday. But whether it's calm or it's not calm, some of us will still be there. This is our state. And those that are bringing, inciting violence or crime should be the one that the police should be concerned about. Nobody's afraid of moving on anything.
Very well said. Now, the conversation now is from what leaders could have done differently to avert some of the scuffles we had seen. We had your namesake earlier on the program who painted the background from where he believes the trouble started. But in terms of the position of the ousted Speaker Obasa, people are saying that he could have reacted differently to his impeachment and not with the plan of forcefully gaining entrance that also saw the DSS invited. Do you think that Mr. Obasa had been leaving this larger-than-life impression, challenging the incumbent governor, Governor Sanwo-Olu, in his declaration to run for governorship come the next election cycle?
Yes, I believe the lawmakers all the time always miss the point of why they're in the House. They do not understand what they are representing. It is not a crime or wrong for Mudashiru Obasa to be interested to be the governor of Lagos. As it is right. Everybody has the right to contest. But for me personally, it is wrong, and to sensible Nigerians, for him to use a platform as the Speaker of the House to be talking about that. You can speak about it elsewhere. The House is to legislate issues that concern the people, But for me, that is not going to give a premise for all that have happened in the last 2 months or 3 months in Lagos, which has distracted Lagosians from the issues that we were tackling before this Obasa's impeachment and the new one came up. And what are these issues? The burning issue in the State House of Assembly at that time was the issue of the local government autonomy, which we have had about 3 public hearings to query or to accept or to reject the proposed amendment bill that the State House Assembly proposed, which many of the clauses in the bill were rejected, that they should go back to follow the Constitution, they should go back to follow the ruling of the Supreme Court in May 2024. And we were waiting for their response after about 2 or 3 public hearings, instead of them to go to the House and finalize that issue, so that, like I said, can go and prepare for election. All of a sudden, it was a drama of Obasa impeached and all. So it's been chaos from the APC.
Well, Comrade Oni, before you carry on with the Obasa situation, quite interestingly, you had cited the issue of the local government autonomy that had taken center stage at the Lagos State House of Assembly prior to Obasa's impeachment, and then some sort of clauses that were being added to the ruling of the Supreme Court, sit-ins upon sit-ins being held and all of that. Do you care to take us through what some of these clauses were and why these deliberations had to be made?
Okay, thank you very much. So it's good to note to Lagosians that for the past 15 years, the State House of Assembly have passed a law, an illegal law, using a legal house, which has allowed a LCDA, creation of additional local governments to the 20 recognized by the Constitution. And over the years, we have been having elections in those LCDAs. The Senate, the National Senate, the Supreme Court has many times tried to change this narrative, to solve this problem. But there's always backlash from the governors. But they were able to successfully do that.
Okay.
Which stating that creating an LCDA is illegal, is wrong. 20 local governments is recognized for Lagos and differently for different other states. The local government should be given their funds directly as allocated. The reason why the state is receiving it on their behalf is so that they can transfer it to them to reduce logistics of funds sharing. The Lagos State government is just an intermediary to give them their funds, not to help them in distributing it. No. So that the local government can function as a third tier of government independently.
Yeah.
But that has not happened over the years. So when the Supreme Court judgment was passed in May, that, pin on the constitution of the country, and all the Lagos State government and House of Assembly does need to do was to take that Supreme Court order and go and adjust all the illegal law in their
including the LCDAs that have been holding elections illegally in your perspective. Is that correct?
All the chairmen that we have had over the years at the LCDA, they are illegal chairmen. But they didn't want to do that. So what are the clauses that they're not trying to adjust? They started that the governor will appoint mayors in this LCDA instead of them having an election. We countered that the governor cannot appoint in the local government. Does the president appoint commissioners for the governor?
For state government.
In the local government. They dance back. I said, okay, well, we'll now have an election, which is where we are. That they want to insist that the SDA must, and this is their excuse. Their excuse is that they don't need any money for the federal government. They can take care of themselves. That is not the issue.
By means of IGR.
Yes.
Okay.
But that's not the issue. The issue is that this act is an illegal act according to the constitution of the federal government. If you want to increase your local government, you have to do it at the constitution, the 1999 constitution, and it will happen at the floor of the National Assembly,
now
at the State House.
Comrade Oni,
that is where we are in the state.
Comrade Oni, it's funny how history is kind to us, because the man who was at the time in Lagos when these conversations for the creation of 37 new local governments was first had in 2004 is now the president.
Oh, yes.
The same man who was also taking the state governors to the Supreme Court to ensure local government autonomy. Now, back then, it was President Olusegun Obasanjo who had a day in court with the now President Tinubu over this same issue. So in understanding how this conversation over time has evolved, Lagos again needing the creation of new local government areas. Back then, the president, then governor, said that the president, Olusegun Obasanjo, should not worry over how Lagos will handle the money. The money should just be sent to the states, and if these 37 new LGAs are created, he would ensure the sharing is done in equity. Do you think history is repeating itself?
Yes, basically. And I had my section at the floor of the House of Assembly, and I told them, Lagos is the originator of this mess. Now, Lagos should take the lead in solving it. The president has done what he can do, even though, for me, the body language does not speak as is interested in making sure the Supreme Court judgment is implemented properly. Because when he came to Lagos for December and all that, and they had a meeting with the governors, he told them there are rumors that the federal government is trying to hijack the local government. No, not at all. That's not what they are trying to do. He didn't speak to the issues. He didn't speak to the issue.
I think he said that, Chijoke. Remember we highlighted that he said that to kind of rest the fears, because some governors were worried. I don't know if you recall.
I
had that
quite
conversation.
recall that very vividly.
So,
Yeah,
Karen, I just
he just wanted them to just feel calm and, so a court judgment has been done. However I play out as a president is not my business.
But what issues, Comrade Oni, what issues were you expecting the president to have addressed during his visit to Lagos late last year that he did not address?
Oh yes, what you should have reminded the governors is simple, that the Supreme Court judgment is not going to reduce your power as a governor in any way. Your power exists as a governor. You are in charge of the state. You have commissions under you. What it's going to do is going to make sure that your local government can focus on their own duties and you can focus on yours. It's not going to affect anything. All you need to do, and what is always their fear? Their fear is that they want to win election. So they use the LCDA people to win election. You win election when you perform. Go and perform as a governor, you win election. Not playing dangerous politics. Look at what is happening in Osun State.
Quite interestingly.
Let's stay with this issue. Yes.
Okay, quite interestingly, because the governors in this state are sometimes informally referred to as mini presidents. The way the president is and has governors all spread out all underneath him. The governors themselves also have, local government council chairmen spread all under them. Now, with the autonomy granted to local government councils, administrative and financial autonomy, it appears that the structure is destabilized and the governors are left without any roots underneath them. That is the fear of the governors. And do you think that is not that is not a very valid fear coming from these governors?
No, it's not valid. See, we have a problem. Yes. And the problem is that the 1999 Constitution is not a constitution that were made for the masses. That constitution itself is the problem. Quite all right. Everybody knows that. But we're not going to solve that problem by carrying out illegal things that have been legalized by that constitution. Until we change that constitution, we still have to follow the legal process. The fear of the governors is simply controlling the local government so that they can keep on winning the elections and money. That is all. You see, the fact that all those things that they are saying is just dribbling.
Now comment on it.
LCDA chairman to undermine the 20 local government chairman in case they do not support them. That's what happened.
Comment on it. The issue now is also being traced back to the State Assembly, because you talk about the Constitution review and overhaul of the 1999 Constitution. Many Nigerians agree. But that conversation was had on the floor of the Green Chambers. And guess what? Other than talk about this from the state level, the conversation was about creating 30 more states. Help us understand this dilemma. Do we create more states where we would have more local governments that would be yearned for by the new governors that would emerge? But in this case, do we now ensure that the direct accounts, it's all about leadership again, and I ask, in this case, what were you expecting from your lawmakers representing the different constituencies in Lagos to have as a sense of urgency as against the removal of Obasa?
Thank you. See, I must tell you, before I go to that, I was in the floor of the house when somebody came out and said, please, our lawmakers, this LCDA must remain. You remember some of us are PA, some of us they were just mentioning position. What we need. I was dumbfounded, right, sir?
On the floor of the house?
Yes!
It's more about stomach infrastructure now than
So it puts to the fact that Nigerians and Lagosians need to know that if they do not have true lawmakers representing them, if you hire a lawmaker, your thinking has to be high, your vision has to be high, you have to speak for the people. Is the problem of Nigeria more states? Of the state that's not true. The United States of America has over 300 million people, and they have just 50 states. It's about leadership. If you create 79 states addition to the 36, and you still put terrible leaders into play, it's still going to be saying the same thing that's happening in the existing states. So the problem is not more states. The problem is we need to get the right leaders in the right place to do the right thing. A local government chairman is, let's give Adimosho as an example. A local government chairman is Adimosho is capable enough to govern his local government, give him his resources. He has councillors to monitor things. lawmakers to checkmate him, give him his resources. There's the judiciary also to checkmate him, give him resources, let him work. Same thing goes for the governors. It's not until you create a good state, a bad state. That is absolutely not the problem of Nigeria. If 36 state is not working, who told you 79 states is working? Look at the United States of America. These states are standing on their own and they are working. California, Los Angeles, all those states, they are almost like a country on their own. That is what we want to see. States that are developing. But you are sitting there talking about one state. Why are they talking about one state?
Now, Comrade Oni,
you want to be governors. You want to be governors in that state.
Comrade Oni, let's also talk about the local government council chairmen themselves that are not entirely, free of blame in this entire situation. No, because the argument on the table has always been that the governors do not want to adhere with the ruling of the Supreme Court over the local government autonomy so that they can continue to control these local government council chairmen and their councils. However, some of the local government council chairmen also do not want to be autonomous because in their own argument on the ground now, when these allocations come in, the state governors give them what belongs to them and don't really checkmate what they do with the funds or not. They end up, not carrying out any constituency projects, not doing anything for the masses, and the entire bulk of the attention falls on the governor. How do we address this issue with the local government council chairman?
In fact, I must confess that one of the reasons why the fight to secure a proper local government autonomy is because the people in local government themselves are, part of the conspiracy, are part of the reason why we are this backward. Many of them are uneducated thugs, park leaders that were just given position. So they have, they speak to somebody, they worship somebody. So they are not really interested in what we're talking about. All we're talking about is just English. Just share the money to us. And so it's very difficult. I can usually tell you that the party that is speaking about this issue alone, probably ANC and one or two, people don't care. So if we that are not in power, but we are stakeholders in the state are speaking, and we are one or two, and the people in local government themselves are not speaking, how do we get results? In fact, those that are speaking, do you know why they are speaking? Because the LCDA chairmen that are under them, that are supposed to be under them in quotes, have so much undermined their authority and they are tired. That's what happened to the one in Adimasho that was removed when the state house assembly just sat and removed a local government chairman that was elected. It's because of that's the reason why some of them are speaking, not because of they understand the issue. So they are also part of the problem. And the only solution is for the people to rise up.
Yeah.
The local government belongs to the people. If the people want this autonomy to take effect, if people want proper election, because once you don't go into an election with the right rule of law, the election is already messed up. The people must rise up and demand for better. That is what we are banking and hoping on. If the people do not rise up and these people continue to cook and delay, because what they are doing now with the distraction of Obasa and the new lady is to delay. Once it's March or April, you will just hear the election timetable is out. We'll go to the election again.
Now, this delay that a lot of people are looking at, particularly since plenary has been adjourned indefinitely. The only respite I see some other persons pointing to online is still falling back on Mr. President and the GAC. In your best knowledge, would a political solution involving the GAC and Mr. President somewhat get the House to sit back again, owing to the fact that in some dismissed allegations as well, they're saying the order to have the House invaded came from the presidency. Help us understand how leadership in the part of the presidency and the GAC might call off this suspension of plenary indefinitely.
Well, I don't know where the directive of invasion came from. I can't speak to that. But what I know, that is a disgrace to our democracy, that the DSS, the Department of Secret Service, is invading a state house of assembly. For what? Is there a bomb? Are they going to defuse bomb? Is there intelligence of kidnapping? Are there terrorists in the state house of assembly? What is DSS doing there? If the state house of assembly say they have security issues, the only people that should be there is the Nigerian police. So whoever has given that order is a joke. Whoever has given that order is not a leader. Whoever has given that order is doing the same thing APC has been doing, dragging our democracy back that we're still even managing. Now, to solve the problem, obviously, the problem to everybody can see is an APC problem. The problem is not a Lagos problem or a political party in Lagos movement. It is an APC internal crisis that is holding down our House of Assembly, that is holding down our democracy. But Ahmed Tinubu is the president, obviously, and is the leader of the party. They should go and solve their problem and stop distracting us. The GSC, which I think is the Government Advisory Council or something, they are also part of the problem. These old men.
When you say they are part of the problem,
Yes.
you are speaking holistically, Comrade Oni. Part of what problem? How are they contributing largely to this crisis debacle that we continue to see in Lagos State, especially with the speakership position?
I will explain. They were part of the conspiracy to remove Obasa, obviously. And when they have done that, the woman that was the deputy that moved up went to first go and meet them. There's a video to pay homage that yes, my elders, I will not be like Obasa. I will do well. You know, after that, she went to the office. It's obviously that they are involved. And I've seen interviews from one or two of them speaking that they represent the TSC.
But that is what they are supposed to do as an advisory council, to ensure that law and order is maintained in the state. And we all know Obasa's antecedents. We all know how power drunk he became at some point from the hallowed chambers of the House of Assembly, positioning himself as almost a de facto governor of Lagos State.
Is there law and order? That's my question. There's no law and order. Obviously, the GSC are failing. Even though their position is not constitutional. But yes, any party is free to have advisory council and that is good. We also advise people. But when you are advising, it should be advised. You should not speak authoritatively on issues. There is a House of Assembly. There is a law. You have the speakers in the House have the right. The lawmakers in the House have the right to impeach. They should see it and do it properly. And there should be no mago. And if Obasa also wants to challenge his impeachment, he should do it legally. There should be no drama that they are giving us today. Everything should be done in the floor of the House. I want to ask you, have you seen them sit and argue and analyze issues as intelligent men, as parliamentarians that will watch all over the world?
I believe these meetings might be holding behind closed doors, so we can't be privy to all of that.
Why should they do it behind closed doors? We watch the House of the UK, we have the House of the UN, United Nations.
Yeah.
Boris Johnson, all the people that have been impeached or removed in the UK, we watched all of them. The Prime Minister stands in front and is questioned, and you said the man was doing siphoning funds and all that. You did not bring him to the House and question him. What are you covering? So where is the fund that Obasa was siphoning? Nobody's talking about that fund now. The goal was just to remove it.
We have just about 3 minutes to wrap up this conversation, Comrade Oni. Going forward, what should Nigerians, particularly Lagosians like yourself, expect from the Lagos State House of Assembly in the next couple of days or weeks? Will Mojisola Miranda remain as the Speaker of the House, or would we see a historic and very dramatic return of Obasa?
Personally, I'm not interested in whoever becomes the Speaker, because I don't see any responsibility from any of them. I've not seen any so far. Nobody has shown any difference. And I don't think the Lagosians should be expecting anything special from this particular house, but they have not spoken for it. What I will advise the Lagosians is that they should rise up and demand for better. A house that is not going to work by itself, if you are going to allow them to even do some little things, you have to picket the House of Assembly and demand for better. There should be pressure from the people, not pressure from DSS. And again, it's a disgrace to DSS for invading the House of Assembly.
Well, Comrade Oni, now we've discussed largely on the issues in the Lagos State House of Assembly. You were earlier going to reference what happened in Osun. Quite sadly, we had to stay on this issue. But now that we're done with this issue, let's cross over to Osun.
I will confess that I'm also, my father is also an indigene of Osun State, even though I was born in Lagos. I have families there, Modakeke, Omu, and all that. So I'm also concerned about that state. It is sad. The first thing I saw was the governor doing a press conference. So when I said the governor is doing a press conference, doesn't he have a press secretary? What should be so important? And they said Oyetola wants to invade. It made that alarm. And despite the alarm, we still saw the crisis. Over what? Over local government election. Over removing this, removing that. Over court judgment. I can tell you categorically that the bulk of this issue start and end from the president. Thugs, police will not move anyhow if they are not mobilized to do so. The governor was shouting the CP this, the CP that, and still yet nobody did anything to curb that problem. Now people have died. Imagine if a councillor, either elected or aspirant, is dying during election. What is the hope of our electoral process in this country? Can we still boldly claim and say, oh, it's democracy, when candidates are dying? Someone said the message for me from Elisha. They said over 10 people have died. There are people in Elisha East, they couldn't even go out because so much gunshot. I saw videos myself of young people moving around with gunshot. These are the people that DSS should have already apprehended even before they came out. But DSS will not do that. They will be really invading. This is the state of our democracy. Where is the president? Where is Bola Ahmed Tinubu?
Well, Comrade Oni, we saw the situation in Osun State, and of course, as usual, we saw fingers pointing to both parties. The All Progressives Congress stalwarts cited that PDP had organized talks to invade the council secretariats and stop their chairman that had been reinstated by the appellate court from gaining access to the council secretariat. Whereas the PDP also stated that the APC had organized talks to accompany this local government council chairman to gain access to the secretariat. In this situation, who should we believe? Is it the incumbent belonging to the People's Democratic Party, or Oyetola, the unseated governor that is now fighting so hard for his people to return to the local government council secretariats?
Thank you. This is a repeated issue. If we go into history very well, we remember that all these things have happened before. Time of Aregbe, Omishore, it's a repeated issue. The same APC and PDP drama, the same talks. So when it comes to talks, both of them are guilty. They all parade talks and cultists. Some of us in political space, we know them by name. And it is sad that I will tell you that police will even protect us. Police! These guys have ruined our democracy. So it goes to the fact that Nigerians need to be done with this political party. That is what I will say on that. But the bulk of this issue lies on the table of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. If APC is mobilizing up, and PDP is mobilizing up, and the state is in chaos, and the governor has shouted, and there's no problem, we turn to the commander-in-chief of the country.
Well, let's hope that the president comes in and sways into the situation to ensure that law and order is restored to Osun State and there will be no more bloodshed in that state. But we must thank you so much, Comrade Ayoyinka Oni, Lagos Chairman, African Action Congress, for finding the time to come on the program and lend your wealth of knowledge with us on Morning Express today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, one of the inciting discoveries to this conversation is the participation of Comrade Ayoyinka Oni in the Lagos Assembly before plenary has been adjourned indefinitely. He said that Lagosians and Nigerians should be more concerned with the issues that were greeting the floor of the House before the debacle of impeachment on the speakership battle.